Alright, let's talk about shaking things up. When was the last time you did things differently? Well, meet Peter. Here he is playing in a high school band. By the way, he's the principal of that school. Peter is on a mission, changing how we teach in schools. Oh, and he has never even been a teacher. And this is exactly what we will discuss in our class today. How you too can shake things up, can do things differently in your own life. And today's class is coming straight to you from Amsterdam. It's such a historic city. Talking about history, it's this 100-year-old school in Amsterdam that Peter is bringing fresh and new perspectives to prepare it for its next 100 years. And by the end of this story, I want you to be excited about how you can do things differently, because you can. So I had a web chat with Peter, and you wouldn't believe his background. Unlike most other principals, after graduating university, he started his career in tech.
I got hired by Microsoft at the time, and I worked for 20 years around the world in Amsterdam, London, in Hong Kong, and in Seattle, and I had a great time.
But then something changed when he came back to Amsterdam with his partner and 2 kids in 2009.
You know, I went back into that school system, especially when my kids became 5, 6, 7 years old. You know, I was shocked to see that nothing had changed since that I was in those little schools. And I had big ideas about how to change it.
And here's a perfect example of one of Peter's big ideas. Do you see these students completely engaged in these activities? There's a lesson here that I want you to take away. The importance of a holistic perspective. These students are out there getting a real world understanding, and there's a concept behind Peter's thinking.
Qualification bit is basically all what schools talk about today, because it's all about tests. We should spend as an industry much more time on socialization. What is it like to live in this world? How do you work together? As well as how to become a proper human being? How do you grow from a child to an adult?
Well, that reminded me of my good old school days too, which were mainly about grades as well. But modern education definitely needs to be built around much more than just grades. Do you agree? Type yes in the comments below if you think so too. Well, Peter, he's definitely focusing on more than just grades.
So I've introduced the idea of doing something together with the whole school, 800 kids. So once a year we do a project with the museum or something else where we engage everybody to do something.
What a great example of holistic development. Everyone together, all ages, in a neutral space, honing new skills. Now, you know how everyone loves homework. You didn't think you were gonna get away without any homework, did you? Did you? Did you? Your homework is to think about how you can apply this concept to your own life. You likely already have some skills or a qualification. But look at perhaps the ways you can become a better global citizen. Or how you can become a more compassionate person. I mean, you're all awesome, but if you were to become super awesome, what would you do differently for your holistic development? Now for the second and final lesson, the power of the right mindset. Now, we can get our inspiration from anywhere.
It's a guy from India, Rabindranath Tagore. Don't limit a child to your own learning, for he or she was born in another time. I'm excited about that quote because the guy wrote it in 1900 when we went to work on a horse, right? And you know, you don't teach kids in the way you were taught. And that unfortunately is the way what it is today. They teach in the past, and we should teach in the now and maybe for the future.
But how we act on our inspiration depends on our mindset.
Every industry has seen in the last 20 years incredible innovation, because that's the way we live now. That I learned at Microsoft, you know, data-driven decision making will bring you further. Introducing data-driven systems, both in education and as well as running the school, is very well needed.
Let me give you an example about change and having the right mindset. So when did smartphones come out? I got my first one around 2007. So around 13 years or so, personal devices have played a key part in our learning. Yet, many schools still don't allow these devices in class. But why? It's not a groundbreaking idea, but it's a fundamental change required to keep up with the times. And Peter is bringing that change.
I introduced the idea that we really needed to bring in devices into the school, because I couldn't imagine a school where kids would not have a personal computer or device to work on. And now, next year, every child will need to bring a computer into the school. I'm not saying that now everything should be digital. No, of course not. You know, you should have kids in a classroom and you should tell stories, and not everything should be IT.
Exactly! Why not combine the best traditional ways of learning with the new ways that we have now to prepare the students for the future? There's so much change happening in our crazy lives, but how we manage change depends on our mindset. Either we do something about it or we get left behind. So your final task is to think about what's changing around you and what you need to do differently to manage that change. Don't get left behind. And whatever you do, make sure you have some fun along the way. That's what Peter and his colleagues do. Check it out.
Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with goodbye? Yes, I know. I will survive.
What fun! And on that happy note, that's class for today. Peter is doing things differently, starting with his school. And now it's your turn to have a fresh look at things around you, in your life, and find out what you can do differently. And in the meantime, be kind.